If you guys want some gamer subs, make sure to use code GM for 10% off. Thanks. Yo, what's going on, guys? It's G Miners here, and in this video, I think hands down, we have the most brain-dead Totem build of all time. You sprint, you punch, you repeat.
Just punch him!
This build is easier to use than breathing oxygen, which is why it's perfect for them Titan mains. In all honesty though, the build is kind of cracked too. Of all the builds I've tested this season, this one is right up there with the Liar's Handshake build. You pretty much one-hit everything, and any ad that ends up surviving will die to the chain lightning. And then on top of that, we are also going to be blinding nearby enemies. And as a final bonus, we also trigger health regen on every single kill. So even in cases where we might take damage right after the regen procs, another ad that dies to the jolting effect is just going to re-trigger that health regen. This build is going to focus around the exotic helmet and insurmountable skullfort. But before we get into any of that, let's go over the Arc 3.0 subclass that makes this work. First up, we are on T-Crash, which doesn't actually matter, but this build will also give us a bunch of super energy, so I personally think that this is a great way to just quickly burn a super so that we can keep on regenning after that and not have anything go to waste. This is also going to center around the Seismic Strike melee ability. By default, this will do a ton of damage and will blind enemies nearby, and then this blinding radius will increase when we become amplified. The Juggernaut aspect is going to pair super well with shoulder charge because we get a frontal shield while sprinting, and this shield is also going to become tankier when we are amplified, which in this build should be all the time. The knockout aspect is what's going to help us stay amplified. This will increase our melee range and damage after critically wounding a target or breaking their shields. So pretty much as soon as we get our first kill, we're going to get amplified and get this damage boost. And then as we get more melee kills, it's just going to stay procced. And then this also is going to trigger health regeneration on kill. Spark of Resistance is going to work super well with this build because we will always be near enemies, and it's also going to second as another survivability aspect if we ever lose our Juggernaut shield. Spark of Frequency is going to give us increased reload speed on melee hits, so if we ever need to use a weapon like a 1-2 punch shotty, it's going to feel super snappy. And then lastly, we have Spark of Recharge, which is going to give us grenade and melee regen when critical, just in case we ever lose our melee ability. That is everything in the subclass we are using. Real quick though, before I go over the mods and exotic, if you do find this video useful, make sure to drop a like and sub down below. Subbing is completely free, it helps me out a ton, and you can always change your mind later. An insurmountable skullfort is going to allow us to get our melee ability straight back as long as we get a kill with it, and if we get a kill, we're also going to get health regen from this too. I run my helmet on Arc so that I can also use double hands-on mods, which is where we're going to get the bonus super energy as I'm meleeing ads. For our main mods, we are running Well of Ions. This will increase melee damage by 30% for 10 seconds upon grabbing an Arc Elemental Well. I also have Elemental Charge so that Elemental Wells will keep us charged with light at almost all times. And then I also am using Striking Light with the secondary perk on so that we get even more damage resistance while sprinting. After this is Melee Wellmaker so that we can actually generate Arc Elemental Wells to proc Well of Ions. And then I just use Bountiful Wells to fill in the final mod slot so there is less of a chance that I miss grabbing the well on melee kills. I'm actually a huge fan of the mod synergies in this build. There aren't too many mods in the game that just fit right into builds like Striking Light and Well of Ions do with this one. Arc is definitely the punchy boy subclass for Titans, and Shoulder Charge feels great. I do also use a 1-2 punch shotty so that I can take out tankier enemies. To do this, just slide first, shoot, and then melee to get the bonus damage. Otherwise, just shooting is going to cancel your sprint, and Shoulder Charge won't proc. I took this into the Legend campaign where I've been testing all of these builds, and as I mentioned, this felt stupid good. The damage was wild, the resistance made me borderline impossible to kill, and the chaining effects made clearing ads super fast. As you see, I also get a ton of super energy back here, and most of the time, all the ads are going to be completely blind. I would even shoulder charge right into Cursed Thrall, and the healing that would constantly be proccing from other kills kept me alive. All in all, I think this is one of the strongest mid-game builds in the game right now. I say mid-game because I still think that you could easily get killed in endgame content depending on the gaps you need to close, and a lot of the damage resistance comes from sprinting, which we stop doing each time we melee. But anywhere other than day one raids and GMs, I think this build will be insane. Let me know your thoughts on the build in the comments below, and also comment what class you guys are going to be taking into Kingsfall if you're running this Friday. I'm definitely interested to see what people are running, so if you want to comment your team comp, do that too. I will also be streaming my runs starting at reset on Twitch, so drop me a follow over there if you want to watch. Anyways, that's all for this video, guys. As always, have a good one. Peace.